In this video, I'm going to create an outline business case. And if you're just here for the template, yes, the link is in the description. I'm starting a new project, and if you saw the previous video on this, you'll know that I don't have a business case. There are two ways to think about the business case. There is the idea of what the project is supposed to achieve and an understanding of what its benefits are going to be. The other version is a document that explains all of that and explains its justification and why the project should exist. But when you get talking to people, especially in the corporate world, around where's your business case, what's your business case, they honestly could be talking about the idea or the document. I'm going to write up the business case for my new project. And yes, I know the sponsor should have wrote it for me, or someone else in the business should have wrote it for me. But how many times do we end up starting a project and this document doesn't exist? And for my project, which is going to last about 4 months or so, I don't think I'm going to go into the full in-depth massive Word document style business case. I'm just going to do a 1-page outline business case in PowerPoint. Okay? Okay. Okay, I've started off the outline business case here, and I've started off with some pretty basic information at the top: the project name.
Wait a minute.
Project manager, me. Sponsor, me. The document type, the date of approval, today, and the department. In this case, I've said creative. You can put whatever you like. I'm going to drag these tables down a little bit so I've got some space to write in. For background, you're just putting a little bit about what's happened up to now and a little bit about what the focus is, what the context is of this project. So in my case, I'm saying that this year I've been focused on creating products and services for people in the project management community. I'll mention what I've already done so far with the launch of the mentoring and coaching service, which is really, really good, and the link is in the description. And I've put that the focus for the remainder of the year is to focus on delivering new products. In the objective section, I'm putting a little bit about what the objective of this project is, which is to create 3 digital courses and to launch them by the end of August. The courses need to be useful to people in the project management community, and it's either going to help their skills or their career development in some way, and that the courses must be delivered on an existing teaching platform. So there are plenty out there, but I need to make some choices about whether I'm going to use one or many of them. One thing that's for sure though, I'm not going to create my own teaching platform. Strategic alignment for you might be a lot easier than it is for me. When you're looking at this in your organization, there should be some strategic goals, and they're usually something like, let's grow the business, let's make things more efficient, let's have better customer service, or some variation of that. And hopefully other things as well. ESG kind of considerations now are coming in. Being good to your staff is a factor as well. So the organization you work for could have many strategic goals. This part of the business case is asking you to align your project to that strategic goal. This really should have been done before this was ever handed over to you. The sponsor should have at some point justified why they are spending time and money on this project and how it's going to move the organization closer towards its goals. So you shouldn't really be having to conjure this idea up, but if you are, have a look at your strategic goals and hopefully you'll align quite closely. In my case, the primary strategic goal here is to provide a service that's useful to my audience. So I guess that would fall into customer kind of focus categories, and as a secondary goal to maybe grow the channel. So I'm going to put something around that. As mentioned, the target is to get this done and out by the end of August. I accept there might be a little period where I'll go through project closure in September. That's not ideal though. So I'm hoping that I can get this done by August. So target completion, 31st of August. Options considered. So as I mentioned on a previous video about this project, I've got an awful lot of options appraisal I'm going to have to do later on in the project. In this case, it's really asking, what else could I have done to achieve my strategic goals other than this project? What have I considered and ruled out in order to do this? And I'll tell you, one of those ideas was to write a book, which is actually going to be the next project that happens after this. There are other things as well I could have focused my time onto. I could have done a lot more work on social media, grown my profile, wrote more blogs, that kind of thing. They're not really leaning into my strengths. I think that making video content is a little bit more me, but I could have done those things and could have probably achieved a similar sort of outcome. So I'm going to make a note of those on here, and I think that will be sufficient. It's always worth putting a line in there about why you chose the option you've chosen. Let's be honest, you didn't choose it. But in my case, I've chosen this option because I think this approach is going to have potentially greater reach and therefore a higher chance of success. Doing all those other things that are in social media content creation, I could potentially do those part of my BAU activities. I wouldn't say that I need to set up a project to go and do them. So when it comes to a business case, people always want to know how much it's going to cost and what they're going to get from it. So they will look at costs and benefits and try to work out a cost-benefit ratio. It's easy to do that if you've got financial benefits that you're focused on. In my case, my strategic goal is customer focus and channel growth. So it's going to be really hard for me to kind of pin down some financial benefits on this. As for forecast costs, I have set myself a budget of £500 for the spending on the platform, which, as I mentioned previously, excludes my resource time on this. So the forecast costs are quite easy and most likely wrong, by the way. Let's be real about this. Anytime anyone forecasts costs at the start of a project, it's almost certain to be wrong. So let's have a look at the benefits now. And to do that, I'm going to look at the strategic alignment, which is customer focus and growth. Customer focus is the audience, probably you, or probably people that you work with. But is that the actual target audience for these courses? The options appraisal hasn't been done on what those topics are yet. So I can't say that for certain, but what I can say generally is that I want to help to inform my audience. I want to give them greater confidence in their occupation. I want them to avoid all of the mistakes that I've made and that I've seen others make, and to avoid self-sabotaging behaviors. I want their projects to succeed. I want them to succeed. And I don't know how to write that as a benefit. Okay, so the customer focus part then, if I was being ruthless like a corporation would be, they would want to convert happy customers into more revenues somehow. And I suppose I could make the same sort of equation myself. If people like my courses, they may pay for more courses. So obviously there's a financial side to that. But also if they come back and they think, yes, this is a good person who teaches useful, interesting things, they'll come back to the YouTube channel and that will increase ad revenue through there. But also it will open up other opportunities such as public speaking opportunities and other things associated with increased profile. So I'm going to kind of narrow it down a little bit to something like increased web traffic. Okay, increased web traffic advertising revenues, increased public profile and public speaking opportunities, increased brand awareness. So here's a question that will be familiar to you. I change something. I introduce a course. And then I see web traffic increase. Did the course increase the web traffic? Or was the web traffic going to increase anyway? That's one of the big challenges with benefits realization, because it's so hard sometimes to say, that improvement is me. I made that happen. In this case, is my course going to do that? Can I honestly say it's going to measurably do that? Maybe. The ruthless sponsor in me says, yes, it's going to increase revenues by 10%, 20%, 50%, 100%. So what percentage can I put this down to? How much can I say that this change is going to increase those things? The traffic, the public speaking opportunities, brand awareness. It's hard to say. The real challenge though would be having that information in there before you get the project approved, because then someone can challenge it and they'll be saying, you need to go and tell me exactly what this £500 budget is going to get for me. What's the return on investment on this? In this case, the project is already agreed and is already started. And if that's the case for you, you're on easy street. But if you're the person who's got to actually go and get this project approved, you're going to have to put some figures in there. You're going to have to justify why your project, above all other things, including those other options considered, should be the one that goes next. So I'm going to be bold on parts of this. I'm going to say that the public speaking opportunities that come from being a course provider probably are greater than being a YouTuber. So I'm going to say plus 100%. So if by the end of August in 2024, I've had 2 public speaking events that I'm paid for and 4 that I haven't been paid for, then I could point to that as evidence to say this benefit has been realized. As for the increased web traffic and advertising revenues, potentially I could broaden my audience. I could make a course that's for somebody else involved in project management. I tend to talk a lot to project managers, but I could make a PMO focused course, or I could make a sponsor focused course, or a BA focused course. And that could lead to people coming into the channel. So I'm going to say plus 20%. I'm not entirely confident on that one. I'm glad that I'm not going to face a lot of scrutiny for it. Increased brand awareness could also be part of this increased public profile, but I don't know. I don't know what metric I can put on my brand awareness right now. So I don't know what to put as a target for the future state. By the way, I hope this video is really useful to you, because an awful lot of it is me scratching my head wondering what to do next. And welcome to project management. Resources. 1. So there's 1 resource allocated to this at the moment. It's me, and I am both the scriptwriter, the presenter, the editor, the marketing. I should really also add project manager, because that's the part that we're focusing on here, isn't it? But I've got this wrong. I may be the 1 resource on this, but I'm not dedicating 100% of my time to this. You see, I've got a full-time job, and I'm a full-time equivalent in that job. So you could say that I'm already maxed out at that point. So I need to define exactly how much of my time I can put onto this. If you're only available for 1 afternoon per week on a project like this, you can't put yourself down as 100% committed, because you're not. You're 10% committed. What can I put on this? An afternoon per week? Maybe a bit more? I'm going to put myself down as 10%, because I suppose what I'll put is the equivalent to an afternoon or a morning per week. This doesn't have to be perfect. There are going to be some weeks where I can put much more in. There are going to be some weeks where I'll put much less. Overall, I think 10% is probably about right. Okay, so the key risks on this project, you might have just got the hint there where I was talking about resources, is I don't have a lot of time to put on this. I also don't know what the courses are I'm creating, so there's uncertainty from that. And I don't know what platform they're going on, so double uncertainty. I have done something like this before. I made a video that's on Skillshare that is, its intended audience is content creators, and it's sharing project management tips with them. Feel free to go and have a look, but it hasn't exactly taken off. It's not really done very well. It's been dormant, in fact, I'd say, for the last year. So I haven't really got a very good track record at this kind of thing. So I've put my initial ideas into this now, and the best thing I would recommend to anybody who's done an exercise like this is save it, turn it off, walk away and do something else, and just let these ideas tick in the back of your mind for a while, and then come back and flesh it out some more and keep repeating until you're happy with this. It's not the kind of thing that's very easy to do all in one go. And what you might also find when you're doing this to get into the flow is you don't start at the top. You might want to start right at the bottom and start off with, oh, what could go wrong? And start off with that first, or start off with the resources. Or if someone's told you this project has got to increase growth by 50%, then you could start off with that in the benefits, and you might also want to put something about that in the risks. So walk away and go and do something else. And I really do mean walk away. Get away from your desk and change your environment. Go and have a coffee, have something to eat, talk to a friend, talk to a loved one, have a walk in the woods. And maybe when you come back and you look at this again, you'll think that could be improved, that could be improved, that could be improved, and flesh it out a little bit more. Okay, so the next part of the project is going to be moving then into initiation. And I'll be fleshing this out a lot more at that point, because I'm going to start working on a project definition document, and I'm going to start to look at the detail behind it. I'm really going to dig into those risks and those benefits and all of the options that I'm considering. It all starts to get much bigger at this point, because don't forget, this document really should have been used to justify the start of the project. Now I've got it as the project manager and I can refer back to it, and I can always use this as a guide to say, this is what I agreed at the start of the project. And in your case, it may be extremely useful to have this captured and signed off by your sponsor, so that if they change their mind at some point and start to deviate a little bit from what's been agreed here, you can point them back to this and say, this is what we agreed on. Happy to change the project based on what you're coming up with now, but it's not my fault that we've decided to go down one path and you now want to go into another one. The work I'm doing on creating this document is just one step of a larger process of delivering a whole project. And I'm delivering that project in a series of videos right here, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that journey. Okay, I'm going to take my own advice now and save this and walk away, and I will see you here for the next video.